Of the meditation, I would like to talk for just, a few minutes. I spoke about the same thing earlier today when I had the class in Europe, in Israel, and I think it's very important because I get emails all the time, people freaking out because, you know, things are coming up in them, getting a little depression, a little unhappiness, their big toe hurts, it's all kinds of stuff that come. And I just wanted to be clear about this meditation we practice. This meditation will bring up everything that's blocking you and keeping you from having a spiritual life. It's like drilling for oil. I use that metaphor a lot. We hit pockets. Please try and sit still. Please everyone, try and sit still. You're really disrupting the class when you move. Eva, please try and sit still, okay?
Stuart, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to change locations. It's not.
Change locations, Eva. You're disrupting the whole class, okay?
Sorry. Okay.
Can I just say something about this moving? If this was an in-person class, nobody would move. You understand? Nobody would move, but everybody is in their own apartments. They think if they move, it doesn't affect anything. If you move, it really affects the entire class. And there's 35 people sitting here, and it affects the class of every single person. That's why I keep saying, don't move. Get all your shit done before you have to come to class. Get the right position, make sure the computer's working right. Do all of this before you attend the class. Because I'm telling you, one person moves and 35 people, it really disrupts the class. It disrupts the entire vibration of the meditation. Well, anyway, let me get back to what I was talking about. As you go deeper inside yourself, the purpose of this meditation is to uncover all these things that are blocking you. To open up these areas that have been repressed inside us for many, many years that are keeping us from having a spiritual life. And things come up, and sometimes they're very painful and very difficult things. Sometimes they're depression that we have repressed. Sometimes all kinds of stuff comes up. And our job really in doing this is to transform these things that come up into energy that flows through the chakra system, to bring it to the chakra below the navel and transform these things that are really killing us inside, that we have buried. We don't even know about them anymore. We've repressed them so deeply, and draw them in. Please, Barbara, will you please stop moving? I'm going to just turn this thing off if people keep doing it. I really mean this. It's getting very, very annoying for me, And, we take this energy deep inside. It opens us up to places where, we have repressed depression, we have depressed unhappiness, we have depressed these things that have hurt us in life. We have buried them inside us, and they truly are blocks that keep us from having a spiritual life. We have to release them. And as I said, before, some of them can be very painful. Now, the purpose of this meditation is to learn how to transform these things into, chi, into energy in the chakra below the navel, so that these things make us stronger and we build precedents. You understand? We learn how to do it the first time, then we learn how to do it again and again. And it really is the use of two things. It's the use of our need to grow spiritually and our need to overcome the blocks that are keeping us from getting to God. And it's and on top of that, it's the will we have to do it. We don't give up when things get rough and all of this crap gets released inside us. But we use the need to grow. We use our will. We use our capacity to stay focused in the chakra below the navel, in order to build a system that is strong enough so that when these things do come up, and they come up for the rest of your life, it's not like, you get over it. No, there's stuff buried so deep inside us, or we wouldn't be on the earth. When these things do come up, we are stronger and stronger and stronger. We have been through the experience. We have learned how to transform all of these blocks and tensions and anxieties in ourselves into chi, how to turn it into an energy that is harmonious and full of balance. And what happens is the crap that is killing us, the crap that creates physical problems, that creates, mental problems, that creates a lot of tension inside us, that stuff gets transformed and we learn how to do it. So instead of complaining about it, we master our inner life. We master the capacity to transform all these things and use them to grow spiritually. And I think that this is truly an important aspect of our work. And I would say is probably one of the greatest things I ever learned from Rudy and how to do that, what I'm talking about. Because it opens up all the doors that lead to God. I mean, if we spend our lives battling our neurosis, our anxiety, all our craziness, all our tension inside, and that's the sole thing we battle in every meditation class, and understand, that's how we spend our life. But when we master these things and we can transform them, by using this meditation to bring those things into the third chakra, transforming them into chi, using them to activate Kundalini, and to also get sexual energy flowing to the base of the spine so that we truly can open all the doors that lead to God. Understand, that is our work. In fact, I would say that's probably one of the reasons we're born on the earth, is to learn how to transform our suffering into a spiritual life. When we master that, we're free. Understand, we don't have to come back here anymore. And how do you know you've mastered that? The heart's open, there's love, there's joy, there's compassion, there's this willingness, to learn what one has to do in order to have a spiritual life. There's the acceptance of karma. There's the acceptance of our limitations. There's the acceptance of everything that really is part of our karma and the reason why we have to do inner work. And most importantly in all, it sets precedents. We learn how to do it. And what are we doing? We're learning how to free ourselves, as I say all the time, from the one person who's keeping us from having a spiritual life. And that's ourselves. We are the problem. And we need to learn to master the problem, which is to master ourselves, to transform everything into chi, into energy that flows and develops a strong chakra system, that is open enough to receive the energy of God and to allow that energy to guide our lives. So I'm telling you, I get every day emails from, oh my God, my thumb hurts, my this hurts, that it happened in meditation, can I, and I'm like, okay, things are gonna go wrong, you're gonna release these things, but now you gotta be mature enough to work with them, I mean, it's not a class in lamenting here, it's a class in developing maturation and developing the capacity to build our system inside so that we can take care of our little bouts of depression or little bouts of anxiety, the fears that are inside us, all of the stuff, and we learn how to use them as teachers. They help us to grow instead of, oh, what's happening to me now? Should I stop the meditation? Should I, what are you doing to me, Stuart? I've had things like that. What? What am I doing to people? Trying to help them learn probably one of the most significant things you can learn in life, how to transform everything that is keeping you from having a spiritual life. So, I'm telling you, I just had to talk about this because I get all of these emails all the time. And, so I answer people, but I think this is work that people have to learn how to do on themselves. I mean it, that people have to learn how to master themselves. Because, ultimately, I remember Rudy came back from a trip to India, and I was sitting in the back of his loft there, and he came up to me and he sat down next to me, and the first thing he said to me, he said, "Stuart, I just want you to know that ultimately everybody is in this thing by themselves. Everybody has to ultimately face the end of their life, death, God, all this stuff. And we need to learn how to build a system that is strong enough to do this, and not to be living, in fear and insecurity and living in all this problematic stuff that keeps people from truly functioning every day as creatively as they can function. That's my job. My job is to help people get strong enough to do this. My job is not to be a guru. I absolutely gave that up a long time ago. It's just nonsense. My job is to help transmit Shakti that will help people to get strong enough to truly build a system inside so they can do what I am talking about. They have their own independent connection with higher energy in the universe. And they're strong enough to allow God, spirit, higher energy, whatever you want to call it, to guide them into a creative life that really has to do with being happy, being open, having compassion, love, kindness in the world, willingness to serve higher energy in the universe on this planet. That's what we're all born here ultimately to do. And all the rest of it is, it's such a pile of crap, what goes on in this world. I'll give $86 billion to fix this and that, and it doesn't do anything. They can give trillions, and they're doing that now. It doesn't fix anything because people have to learn to fix themselves. They don't learn to fix themselves, forget about it, This madness just, it's just madness that continues on forever. God bless, I wrote a book called Madness Falling from the Sky, and I can't take credit for that. I took it from Rabindranath Tagore, but I thought it would be a great title for my book. And it's madness. It just keeps falling from the sky, and we have to learn to transform it into love, into joy, into happiness, into everything that really makes it possible for us to live here on the highest level of what it means to be a human being. That joy, that love, that happiness, it also tumbles from the sky. Everything comes from God. Everything comes from a higher force in the universe. But we can't get swept away in the madness. We have to learn how to transform it into love. Excuse me. So please, everyone, try to work deep inside. We'll have a meditation class. And God bless you all for being here and just listening to my stuff, We'll have a class. Anyone have a question I'd like to ask?
Hi, Stuart.
Yes.
You have mentioned in the past that Rudy had said, I would rather be the teacher of Christ than to be Christ. Can you please talk about that?
Well, it's just kind of common sense. Nobody wants to be crucified, You're the teacher of Christ. You provide all the wisdom, the training, everything. And you go back into the bosom of God, And then look what Christ had to go through here. Crucified, extraordinary story of, this amazing being. But I think he was kind of just, I mean, he was kind of joking around, and I don't think Rudy was terribly serious about what he said then. He was just kind of, oh my God, I didn't come, we're not going to be crucified. We'll just train the guy who's going to be the teacher of the Aquarian age and we'll disappear, I mean, does anybody know the teachers of Christ? I mean, who taught Christ? Must have been taught by somebody, So anyway, I wouldn't go too serious about that. I wouldn't get too serious about that. I think he was just kidding around with me when he said that. But he was serious about going to the Middle East and finding this person who he was told lived there, who was supposedly the teacher of the Aquarian age. And he was told that he could train this person and prepare him for the work that he had to do in the world. And he asked me to come with him, which I thought was extremely high honor to go do that. I said, absolutely, my bags are packed. Whenever you're ready to go, just let me know. But we never made it there. His life became so busy with students and people here, right here in the States and in Europe, and that he never really was able to go and do that. But I did, years ago, I set up a meditation center in Jerusalem. And I was hoping that maybe it would attract that person. Not yet, but maybe we'll see. We'll see. I went to Jerusalem, must be at least 20 times to teach. And it's really a wonderful place, an extraordinary city. But I haven't, I never found that particular person. I said, where do you think he is? And he said, he's probably in a brothel in Cairo, I mean, I think he was kidding around. Rudy had a great sense of humor. It was just, but who knows? Who knows where you find the best students? You don't know. I mean, I don't know where all of you come from, and I think there's certainly many of you are very, very good students of this work.
Stuart, what if you were that teacher that he kept talking about? Maybe it was you all along.
Well, I have no response to that. What am I going to tell you? I do what I do. And I don't, look, I have never gotten, I've always been like an underground teacher. I've always taught people in a quiet, simple way, never great crowds of people. And so I've lived my life. I've never publicized what I do. I don't really do that, I come and do it. And people hear about it and they come. And I always say, if you get 50 people, maybe 2 people really stay and do the work. But those are the 2 people I'm looking for, not the 48 that have other karma to work out, and this is not their path. So I don't know. I mean, look, I don't know who I am or what I am. I know that I have only one thing to do, and that's to serve higher energy in the universe. And that's my job. And who I am and what I am, I gave up trying to know that, 40 years ago, And I'm just grateful I can do what I do, And I can pass on this amazing thing that I have learned in my life. And I'm grateful that all of you could be here to receive this. I couldn't think of a better way of serving God, So I don't know that. I mean, look, I've always been, I've always resisted celebrity. I've always resisted that part of life where you walk down this, you can't walk down the street. I remember once I had dinner with Richard Gere, and we used to live right around the corner from where I lived. And we're standing on the corner talking, he and I had a girlfriend then, and his girlfriend who used to study with me. And he said to me, Stuart, I got to get off the streets. I said, what's the problem, Richard? He said, I got to get off the streets, And I never wanted to live that way. I like to walk down the streets. I like to live with a certain anonymity, And I don't want to have to, oh, there's the teacher of the Aquarian age. I really am not interested in that. So I don't know about stuff like that. All I know is I do what I do. Everybody in the world is welcome. I don't really turn many people down. They have to be pretty wacko for me to turn them down. And everybody's welcome. Even if I take people's names off the list because they never show up at class, if they get in touch with me and the need is real and they want to make a commitment, they're always welcome to come back. I don't care who they are, They're welcome to come back. But I need commitment from people because that's what makes this work. Not people that can show up once a month or once a year or whatever they do. Sorry, I can't answer your question. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there a difference between love and gratitude?
One is essential for the other. There's a difference. Gratitude is saying thank you. Love is a very deep emotion, the highest emotion we can have. But you can't have love without gratitude. That's the first step. Being thankful for the air you breathe, for the life you're living, for the people in your life, for the food you put in your mouth, for the clothing you have on, for the house that you live in. That's the first step. And when the person masters that, the heart can stay open. And then you experience the state of love, the state of love. So there's really not much difference. One leads to the other. And love is unconditional. Not, I love you because you fixed the tire on my car or something. I mean, it's unconditional, Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? I mean, just, Rudy did say one thing, but he didn't tell me this. His mother told me this. I was store sitting for him with his mother because he was in India. He was on a trip somewhere. And she was sitting there and, she would make, noodles Alfredo and this and that and the other. And we're sitting there having lunch together. And she said to me, Stuart, she said, I shouldn't tell you this, but I will. He said, the day that you and Rudy met, he came to me and he said, I really think I found somebody who I can pass my teachings on to. Now, he didn't tell me this, but his mother told me that. And I'm grateful. It's all I want to do is a direct link to this incredible master I had who taught me the profoundest way of looking at life and doing my life. And I couldn't think of any higher gift than to be able to transmit those teachings. But he never told me that. He told me, I saw my son lost in the universe. I pulled you in the door of my store. He said, and I mean, that brought tears to my eyes, Does anyone else have a question?
I have a question. Are there any aspects of the meditation that you figured out after Rudy passed that he never really gave to you?
Yes, yes. I mean, the first one, he told me the guru, if anyone ever asks you, the guru is life. It took me 20 years to work that one out, to discover what he was talking about. There was many, many things that I had to work for years on myself in order to, not to understand them, but to allow them to become living experience for me, the same way they were living experience for Rudy. Yes, many, many things I had to work on. I mean, look, I had only been with him for 6 years when he passed on. That seems like a lot of time, but it really isn't. And I had a lot of, I may say, a lot of problems. I had a lot, you can ask Bob Sink, he'll tell you, and Tom Tompkins, I was a pretty intense guy when I lived in Denton, Texas. And I gotten a certain kind of mellowness about me, which I really love. But I was, I had a lot of work that I needed to do on myself. And what enabled me to do the work was taking the commitment of running those ashrams in Texas, and running the meditation groups in New York, running businesses and doing everything I had to do, and then using all of my life experience as a reason to go deep enough inside myself to be able to get to the source of Rudy's teachings. And that's really the truth. I saw the way he did it, and I liked the way he did it, and I knew mine wasn't going to be the same thing, but I wanted to use the technique in order to get deep enough in myself to truly find that connection, the answers, to transform all of my stuff into a living experience in the service of God. And that took years after he died. I remember, when I was, right after Rudy passed on, there was a whole group of people in Rudy's house, and everybody was, tears and crying and hugging each other. And I said to one person, I won't mention his name, I said, I hope that this same thing goes on in 6 months. That people don't, and within 6 months, people were tearing each other apart. Never forget it. I never understood why Rudy sent me to Texas. And now I understood it. I was far enough away from that to where I can develop my inner life. So everything has a reason. There are no accidents. Everything has a purpose. And one has to go deep enough inside themselves to find the answer, to find why these things take place in life. But yes, I took years and years of working on myself to get to even be able to talk to everybody here today like this. I was a pretty intense person when I was young, really intense. And now there's a different kind of intensity. Now it's real intensity. It's not Stuart, it's real intensity, which is that flow of energy of a higher, which is really talking and not me. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Because you are most sincere student. I don't know, say student, but for Rudy.
I don't understand you.
Because you are most sincere, true student. I don't know, say student, funny way to say, but you take Rudy's teaching very special way, accept deeply. That's why.
I try.
Yeah, you are the one of the best one. Yes, he might.
I don't know if I'm the best one. I just do what I do. I'm not the best. There are other people that do this. I don't even know what they do. It's not my business. I just do what I do. And I don't want to be the best. I just want to do what I do. That's all, you know. I don't have to be the best. I could be the worst. I don't know.
Not worse, never.
Does anyone else have a question? I would like to ask.
Stuart, did Rudy tell you how he came across the breathing technique?
No, I never knew that. I never knew that. I never even asked him, frankly. I didn't care. All I knew is I would sit with him and do this exercise, and I would get so full of energy that I could feel myself just transforming. And I never cared how he did it, why he did it, where the exercise came from. I know in Tibetan Buddhism, there's a thing called tumo, which is similar to this. They call it vase belly breathing or tumo. You know, I know that because I got this teaching from Kala Rinpoche in, you know, in his monastery near Darjeeling in India. It was a very great teaching that he gave. But I don't know where he got it. I know he had training in, you know, Park Sabud, which I don't even know what that is. I think it's some kind of, I don't know what it is. I shouldn't talk about it. And he got training from Gurdjieff, in the Gurdjieff teachings. And then he spent 13 years being trained by Muktananda. And between that, he met, you know, Nityananda, who became his really root guru. You know, and he only met Nityananda once. And Nityananda completely transformed his life in one meeting. But how he developed this, it's a stroke of genius that's beyond me, you know? And I never asked him. I didn't care, you know? I never spoke much to Rudy. He allowed me to be around him for hours and hours at a time. And he did all the talking. And with everything from local gossip about the art business to relationships he had to his mother to, you know, his gurus, his, you know, his talking spanned the whole spectrum of life, you know, and I didn't care. All I knew is that being around him allowed me to take in that energy. And what I really needed in my life was not to understand where Rudy came from and what he did, and was to take in that energy. That's what I needed. So I never really went to him to have conversation. I went to him to receive Shakti, to receive energy. And he did enough talking for both of us, you know? So I didn't have to really talk, you know? And I think he loved that, Rudy. I would just sit there and just take in the energy. It made him work on himself too, you know? And it was a very important relationship we had. And I heard for years how much he wanted to get out of the art business. You know, I got to have more freedom to just teach. He told me this so many times, you know. And I understand that because I always, when I had galleries, I needed to get out of sitting in galleries and, you know, just having more freedom in my life. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
I have a question, Stuart, regarding the double breath. Sometimes I find it very challenging. So I'm just wondering if that's like tension that just needs to be broken down, or I may be doing it a little too forcefully.
Maybe it's both, doing it a little too forcefully and your resistance to growth. Could be both. You know, so just relax and you're doing great. You know, just relax and let it happen inside you, you know?
Got it.
A lot of it is resistance to growth. And a lot of it is that part of us that trained from the day we're born that we have to make it happen instead of mastering the technique and just letting it happen. Does anyone else have a question? Okay, just one announcement. There won't be class tomorrow evening. I have another appointment with a doctor and I won't be able to have the class tomorrow evening. There will be a class on Wednesday and it's nothing serious. I just have to have certain treatments once a month, this month and again next month, you know? And, but there will be class on Wednesday. And thank you. God bless you all for being here, for being part of this. And I hope it's benefiting you as much as it's benefiting me. So bless you all. And I'll see everybody on Wednesday.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.
Thank you.